I'm just going to chip in here because this is going on YouTube. I've got makeup on. Mate, just good on him. You know, he's won 2 stage wins. When he joined the team and we had the first December camp, I was rooming with him. Just a good bloke, you know. He's not the blasé, flamboyant. He's not the party boy. If he has 5 hours training, he is not doing 4 hours 50. He crosses his T's and dots his I's. What's occurring?
What's occurring? Brought to you by Continental Tyres, main partner of the Tour de France. Right, Luke. Barring disaster acts of God, lightning strikes, unexpected snowstorms, alien invasions, it very much looks like Tadej Pogacar has won his 4th TDF.
It seems so, mate. Yeah, he just looked like he's had a real grasp on it the whole time. He's never looked... You know, last time he won it, it was back and forth a little bit. Even when Vingegaard won it, it was back and forth. This has just been the Pogi show. I mean, has Vingegaard on one occasion taken time on Pogi? No, not that. Maybe there's a time, but I don't think Vingegaard has taken time on Pogi once this whole race. It's been a one-way river. And Pogi and his team, in fairness to them, have looked impenetrable. And like you say, barring all them things, including alien invasion.
The thing is, if aliens did invade, they probably would have timed it to watch Tadej Pogacar be crowned on the Champs-Élysées, so they probably wouldn't intervene. Word has probably reached the outer reaches of many galaxies about Tadej Pogacar. People have talked about him like an alien, and maybe those aliens would come to watch rather than interrupt.
I was going to say, if aliens come to invade, they probably have a conversation with Pogi because they speak the same language. They've been referred to a lot as the 2 aliens, haven't they? I think Thymen mentioned it on his interview post-stage win, the aliens, and he was the human. So, yeah, alien invasion, they could sit down and have a cup with Pogi probably.
Yeah. Let's do the headlines, as always, for people who may not have been following the action as closely as you and I have today. So it was stage 19 to La Plana, won by Thymen Arensman, Jonas in 2nd place, Pogi 3rd. We'll dig into details now because it was quite a weird stage to watch in some ways, wasn't it? So Thymen obviously won a mountain summit finish earlier in the race. And when he attacked, it was about 13.5k to go, wasn't it, on the climb? For all the world, Luke, it looked like a doomed last hurrah before Pogi and Jonas came past him. Both Pogi and Jonas on their own for the first time in a long time in the race with a long way to go. So I was watching and thinking, oh, here we go. This is going to be a little bit of a battle between these two. Instead, they let Thymen go and he dangled there, didn't he? He dangled at about 21, 22 seconds all the way into the final K. He ends up winning by about 2 seconds. So let's do this almost back to front. We'll talk about Thymen in a second. But was this a weird moment where both Pogi and Jonas could have won the stage and for some reason they chose not to?
Do you know what? I think if we rewind that back to Thymen's attack, it was the perfect time and perfect scenario. It was just couldn't have been better. So if you look at scenario wise, that group that had whittled down to maybe 8-9 riders, every rider in that group was riding GC. There was not a single domestique left. So that's perfect. Everyone's watching each other. If any of them had attacked in that group, they'd neutralise each other. If 7th attacked, 8th would follow. If 3rd attacked, 4th would follow, etc. He was the only guy who could have attacked, and everyone went, we've actually got no reason to chase him other than the stage win. So perfect in that scenario. And also, like I said, there was no teammates left. So he attacked. There's a few reactions behind, Pogi accelerated a couple of times, but there was no teammate to keep that pace, even pull him back, hold him 5, 10, 15 seconds. It was up to the GC guys and the guys hunting the stages, primarily Pogi. And it did look like Pogi was just setting that tempo. He had him out there on a fishing rod, just thinking, if I can keep him at 20 seconds, I can do my big acceleration in the final K and I can get him. But I think he just said he's been followed for 19 days by Vingegaard. I think he just said, you know what, I'm just going to ride this tempo and get to the top and win the Tour de France.
I mean, it makes sense. Everything you say makes sense. It's just we're not used to seeing Pogi do that, are we? we used to see him hoover up every single stage he can.
Did you see him in the post-race interview, though? He just looked a bit like...
He looked tired. I mean, this is the other way of looking at it, isn't it? That both of them are knackered. They've been racing for almost 3 weeks now. This was the last big summit finish. Maybe there just wasn't that in their legs. Maybe they were marking each other and that's what they wanted to do. And really, until Lipovitz went to the front, once he saw that Oscar Onley was starting to struggle and was thinking about nailing down that third spot on the podium, until Lipovitz went to the front with, 3K to go, they weren't really closing. It took Lipovitz to drag them up a little bit further. Look, you can't criticise riders who've been riding that hard for that long. I just think if you are Jonas in 2 or 3 weeks when he's relaxing, when he's on a beach somewhere or he's back home in Denmark, whatever he does post-tour, once he's knocked
preparing for the Vuelta.
Preparing the Vuelta to try and rescue his season.
Yeah. Poor bugger.
Yeah. Will he look back and go, was that a tour stage that maybe slipped by because he hasn't won a stage at this year's tour? And tour stages do matter when you look back at the end of a year and the end of a career.
Mate, you're right. You're right, 100%. And I think Vingegaard was in a position where he had nothing to lose. Honestly, nothing to lose. If he tries to close the gap, he might get out sprinted by Pogi.
So
what? If he pulls and gets jumped by Pogi and loses a minute, he's still in second. He loses the Tour de France by
5.5 minutes rather than 4.5. Exactly.
Yeah. He's never under threat by third place. He had nothing to lose. If he attacked, if he tried. But the only thing I'll say is, to sit in a sofa or like I was in the commentary booth and say, why didn't he attack, is easy. If your legs are screaming at you, perhaps he's looking at Poggy's wheel at last 10K and I am on the absolute limit. I am completely and utterly fucked. He can't attack.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. There's a lot of tired boys out there. I'm just going to chip in here because this is going on YouTube. I've got makeup on.
It suits you. It really suits you. I mean, it's very subtle because I hadn't noticed. It just brings out your features. It's lovely.
I was just looking at the screen thinking, I look beautiful. I just realised why. It's not a filter. I've got makeup on. Because we did the commentary and for the breakaway, there's like these big bright lights. So if you have a big greasy forehead, you just like gleams off it. It's got makeup on. It's not... Yeah, I wasn't sure about it when they first started putting makeup on me. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. But they said, no, you have to.
Listen, it looks good, and you don't look glossy at all. You look matte.
Looking fine. you're looking at yourself and you go, I look different. Yeah, got makeup on.
Years younger. Let's talk about Thymen Arensman because, we've been talking about this stage as a stage that may have been lost by Jonas and Pogi, but that was an extraordinary ride from Thymen. The suffering was all over his chops for that last 10K. He was pedalling squares at the end, and the relief he showed at the end, the hands were on his head. He pretty much fell off his bike, didn't he, about 3 yards across the line as a security guard accidentally knocked Pogi to one side, which will haunt his days, I'm sure, for the rest of his security work. Thymen hit the deck. He had nothing left in his legs. Even when his Swanee's trying to pull him to his feet, he was still quite reluctant. And then once they got him to his feet, he just buried his head in his hands, didn't he?
Yeah, and look, he's a guy who joined from DSM into INEOS a couple of years ago. I think what come with that was quite a big responsibility. He was signed as a guy to kind of lead the team. He's still as a developing younger rider, but to come in and lead the team, to go and hunt results, to go and race GC. And he openly admitted he struggled last year with that role in the team, the pressure, the leadership. Mentally, he struggled. So, mate, just good on him. He's won 2 stage wins. When he joined the team and we had the first December camp, I was rooming with him. Just a good bloke, He's not the blasé, flamboyant. He's not the party boy. He's quite straight. You give that. If he has 5 hours training, he is not doing 4 hours 50. He crosses his T's and dots his I's. The consummate professional. And it's a sport where you get out what you put in, and he's a hard worker, hard trainer, So I think he's been through quite a lot, and a lot of people will try and sell a bit of a sob story, but he has. think he struggled with that role within the team. So, and INEOS needed, mate. You know, we've spoken about INEOS. They lost Garner on the first stage. You know, they lost Carlos. He was the GC hope. He wasn't living up to standards before he crashed out a couple of days ago. And now they can walk away with their heads held high. 2 stage wins, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a very big day for the team. And it's really interesting hearing what you're saying about Thymen as someone who knows him personally, as someone who's roomed with him, because without going into stereotypes, you get 2 different types of Dutch people sometimes. You get the big, cheerful, life and soul Dutch people, don't you? And we've all met them when they're... Yeah. And they're all a lot of fun to spend time with. And you get the more quieter, introspective ones. I think whenever a Dutchman rides well in the Alps as well, you know what that is doing back home in the Netherlands, because they love the high stuff. They come from a flat country and they love the high mountains, don't they? So you know what that will be doing back in the Netherlands, and you know what a hero he's going to be after this tour.
Yeah, for sure. It always makes you laugh when you see a Dutchman performing in the high mountains, doesn't it? You know, you got these Ecuadorians. Oh, where were you born? Oh, 4,000 meters. Where was Thymen Arensman born? Like,
might actually be below
37 centimeters.
Might actually be below sea level. Bearing in mind the polders, yeah.
It's just always kind of funny when you see a Dutch guy performing at, you know, in the mountains or high altitude. But yeah, I mean, he'll receive the hero's welcome he deserves when he goes back home, I'm sure. Would have been interesting to see how the stage would have developed yesterday. That KOM jersey hunt, obviously he was behind Lenny Martinez in that first sprint. If he'd have taken that, would he have raced a bit different? Maybe not, because he was still going full gas and got caught towards the top of the Madeleine there. But yeah, I mean, it's one Tour de France stage win, you know, makes any team's Tour de France a success. 2 Tour de France stage wins makes it a huge success. You know, it really is something to celebrate. So looking forward to Paris, aren't we, Tom?
We're looking forward to Paris very much, Luke. We talk quite a lot about Oscar Onley on the podcast at his tour, quite rightly so, because he has had a wonderful tour. And I'm sure we'll talk about him more when we do our big review of the tour over the weekend. But I wonder if we take a slightly different angle on that battle for 3rd place on the podium today. And we talk a little bit about Lipovic, because he had a tough old day yesterday. He got the tactics wrong, lost loads of time to Oscar Onley, and probably would have felt under threat. He would have felt that his 3rd place was under threat. He's a young rider. He responded really, really well today, didn't he? And we talk about what Thymen's victory in the stage will be doing back in the Netherlands. It's been a long time since the Germans have had much success at the Tour. Lipovic and his likely 3rd place on the Tour will be making a big old difference there. And he's ridden a great race.
Yeah, I guess you got to rewind back to Bookman, really, don't you? When he was riding for Bora for the last kind of real, I think, unless I'm missing someone, big GC kind of prospect. But now it's Bookman, yeah. And, you know, between the 2 of them, I was obviously in the Oscar Onley corner rooting him on. Yeah, Lipovic got yesterday wrong. He had a long chase on his own, come across the group, attacked, and spent a long time on his own. So from all the GC guys, if you were to pick the one guy who spent the most time on his own, it's Lipovic. He was aggressive. He tried to go on the front foot and got exposed. I think he learned his lesson today. Roglic didn't. You know, I was rooting for Onley all the way, but you know, I think, to be honest, Lipovic is the strongest guy. He's been better throughout the whole race. He just got the tactics wrong yesterday and got exposed from it. And then with Roglic, I think it's a big talking point. You know, I think what I don't like in cycling is when a team do something that's a bit out there, or, you know, just you know, wings it and goes for it and does something extravagant. When it doesn't work, they get shot down, and it's like, oh, well, that was stupid. And what they did today, the end result was, yes, that was stupid. But they had the balls to do it. A bit like we spoke about INEOS a few days ago, how they took the race on, nothing come from it. And in the end, you look at it and you go, yeah, that wasn't very good. But at least they had the balls to do it. And Roglic, 2 days in a row, he just threw the cat among the pigeons and went for it. And today, you know, I still think I would have kept him with Lipovic the whole day. Secure that podium. We spoke today with a commentary, and they're a team who's pumped an additional, I don't know the numbers, but
big
say
numbers.
15 million, give or take, into the squad this year with the addition, with Red Bull. They've brought the Van Dijk's brothers, Loscano, Jan Tratnik, Lawrence Pithy in for the Classics and got nothing from the Classics. That's an expensive Classic squad. Then they went to the Giro, Roglic crashed out, and now they're going to the Tour and they're on like the eve of securing a podium. Really, it's third in the biggest bike race in the world, and they put Lipovic's right-hand man, the one guy who can stay with him to the death up the road. I'm not sure it's the right thing to do, but again, there's a lot of high qualified and better DSs than me in the team of Red Bull Bora. So it is what it is, but I'd have kept him with him the whole time, mate.
It's such an interesting discussion point because it makes me wonder where's the motivation coming from? Who has the reins of power there? Because as you say, you would think with all the investment in the team, you've got someone there in Lipovic who, if you look after him, unless they've lost faith in him, which you wouldn't expect them to because he had a bad day yesterday and you can explain one bad day in the Tour. So unless they've lost faith in him...
And it was explainable.
Yeah, absolutely explainable. So it makes me wonder, and you can tell me how politics in cycling teams work, if someone is signed for big money, then you're almost sometimes duty-bound to make things work for them, aren't you? And I don't know what Primož Roglic said in any team meetings, but it's not an unfamiliar situation in other teams, including teams that you've been in, where a team leader who has come in, who's on the big money and who has delivered in the past, gets to call the shots on the big days and in the big moments.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything in the contract of Primož Roglic. It could be, I will only ride for myself, whatever. I don't think so. I think Primož is an honourable, respectable guy. You only have to look at the Vuelta when Sepp Kuss won a couple of years back. I think Primož was potentially stronger than him, but the orders were Sepp Kuss is going to try. We're going to try and line this up for Sepp to win. And he openly said, he didn't really agree with it, but he did it. He never went against it. So I think he's a credible guy, and he wouldn't have ever gone against team orders. I think they just, Rolf Aldag, the DS there, just kind of said, race your own race, boys, which, fair play. In the end, and they said they were confident that Lipovic would not be dropped by Only. They'd done their maths. Now it's not just the DSs making their decisions. There's numbers guys in the back room, and they're going, okay, yesterday he dropped him. We know exactly why. That's why it's explainable. We're confident if Roglic goes at the road that, and they go man-on-man, Oscar and Lipovic, then Lipovic can't be beat. So they had their reasoning, but I would always like to keep the insurance. If I was Lipovic, I'd be saying, please keep this man by my side as insurance.
I'm going to give you another scenario. Let's say the Roglic death or glory manoeuvre looks like it's working. Okay? So the second group on the road, once Arisman takes the lead, attacks. So the second group on the road is Pogi, Jonas, Lipovic, Only, and Roglic. Okay? So Roglic is the sort of man who wants podiums, and he's paid to get podiums. So what happens in that scenario?
Stay together. You wingman to the death. Honestly, I think off the back of the year they've had, they have to make sure they got that podium. They had to make sure they got it. Now they've, the two biggest teams with the best GC guys, these aliens they talk about, they got 1-2. They're the best of the rest. They can hold their head high. They finished third in the biggest bike race in the world. They can hold their head high. It's just never worth risking. The only situation where if you've got that, hypothetical group of 5 is if it comes inside the final K, Lipovic isn't going to lose 22 seconds in the final K or 2, and then you go, Roglic is fast. He's beaten these guys in sprints at the top of mountains before. You say, okay, Roglic, no attacking, but follow and try and win the stage and beat them in the sprint. You can't forget how big a stage in the Tour de France is. But for me, also just the little icing on the cake, which is why I'd have kept them together, is that it seemed UAE was quite intent in riding full gas and going for the stage. Like, they didn't have to ride that hard to control the race. They rode that hard because I think they wanted to win the stage. And, it didn't come that way because, Pogi was quite isolated, didn't have a teammate for that final bit to pull. Got isolated earlier than he would have liked. But, when you see UAE lining like that, Tim Wellens riding that hard on the first climb of the day, it was like, they want to try and win the stage. So there we are. But that's just my opinion. What do I know? Shit. Clearly.
Listen, I always take a man wearing makeup very seriously, and I'll continue to do so. We'll take a break. We'll take a break in a second. Before we do, a reminder that we have been working with Rouleur across the whole of this tour. You've only got a few more days now to use our special discount code, which is WATTS, WATTS, to save 10% on Rouleur magazine and digital subscriptions. Head to rouleur.cc to read their excellent daily tour coverage and get their tour review magazine delivered direct to your door. Luke, it is time as ever at this point on the pod for us to pick our Continental Tyres Chapeau of the day. There is a clear contender. This man finished with his hands over his face. He fell off his bike 3 meters after crossing the line. He's won his second stage at the Tour this year. Would you like to make an amazing case for someone else?
I'm going to back that guy, but I'm just going to add some honourable mentions in there.
Yeah,
Felix Gall gained 2 positions in the GC today. 5th in the GC. I think that surpasses the team expectations. Johannesson from UNOX. Imagine you said before the Tour, a rider from UNOX will finish 6th in the Tour de France. Huge ride from them. But honourable mention, so much respect for what he's done. Just backing it up day on day. There was, and then the only other one, I thought Wellens was huge today. He started pulling on the early slopes of the first climb, did all that, did the next second category climb, did the descent, did all the valley to the base of the last climb. Like, he did 50k solo. Chapeau, but not Chapeau of the day. So, Chapish. Yeah, I think we got to go Thymen. I mean, second stage win, timed it to perfection. I think me and you are quite aligned, and we don't always go for the stage winner, but we reckon.
Well, listen, I'm really glad that you flagged the Tim Wellens stuff, because that's the sort of thing that if people are tuning in for the last hour or so of the tour's coverage, which often people have to, people have got working days, it's a school holidays as well, there's kids to entertain. You might just tune in for the final hour and watch what's happening on the big climb. That's the sort of stuff you can miss unless you are at the race, watching the race. So that's a really good shout. And also, Felix Gall, it feels like it's been a bit of a stealth mission for Decathlon on GC. And you know what GC's like? Things change in the final week and can change quite a lot. So there must be some Decathlon team pride beating in your chest this evening, because he has ridden a really good race, and you don't end up on GC anywhere by accident. You deserve to be where you are on GC, and Felix Gall deserves to be where he is.
No, he's kind of just taken that slow and steady, silent assassin approach to the GC. There was discussion whether he was going to ride GC or not anyway, and the big fear factor was the first week. There wasn't big crosswinds. There was wind the first day. He lost, top of my head, a minute 40 or whatever it was. But if there was more days of crosswinds, like, he is not good in a peloton. Call a spade a spade. He doesn't ride the peloton great, but as soon as he goes uphill, he's a mountain goat. He loves it. So the big fear was that first week, and he dealt with that quite well, partly because the way it was raced, there wasn't gaps. But then once he got through that, he just picked them off one by one. And to climb all the way to 5th, and also just, I haven't been in that team long, but when they pulled onto that final climb and there was 20 guys in that front group left, and there was 5 of our boys there, Decathlon AG2 our guys. Roglic got dropped. They went to the front with Aurelian, and Callum was like, fuck yeah, go on. I was proud. I was happy. You know, it's amazing how quickly you get a connection with riders and a team. And yeah, no, it's a proud moment. I think they've done well. They can hold their heads high. They haven't got a stage win. You know, a stage win is always nice. There's 21 of them up for grabs. It's always nice to get one. So they haven't had that. But yeah, I think they can hold their heads high with that 5th in GC.
Right, Luke, it is now time to delve further into one of the great mysteries of the last couple of days. At the Tour, when G and I were talking yesterday, an image arrived of a white-haired man in a half and half cycling jersey. One half the white of UAE, the other half the yellow and black of Visma. Speculation, Luke, was rampant. Who was this man? Could he be, as the jersey might suggest, a relative of Simon and Adam Yates? If he were a relative, could he indeed be their father, John? Well, I'm glad to say, Luke, that mystery has been solved. We were sent a video earlier today. We'll put it on our socials, but we're going to play it out now. And if you're listening to the podcast, just tune in to what this man in the half and half jersey has to say.
Hello, Geraint. I can confirm that I am Papa Yates, and I've been following the tour for approximately 5 years, and under this shirt I am ripped. So where have you been?
And I'm Mama Yates, and I sewed all the sewing.
There's a lot to go out there. The first thing, his pronunciation of G's first name. As a native Welshman, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, way off the mark. If in doubt, you should have called him G. Couldn't go wrong with that. But no, it's nice, isn't it? I love the mum dropping at the end, and I do the sewing. I sewed that all together. I love that. And
sew the sewing?
Yeah, she's the sewer. So, no, it's nice. Now we know who he is.
It does sound slightly when John referenced his build, because I think G said he looked he didn't look in the right shape to be the father of Adam and Simon. Did feel slightly like he was offering him out, and might come to our pub recording on the Champs-Élysées on Sunday, rip off his half and half tour jersey and offer G outside onto the Champs-Élysées itself.
That would be a great story, wouldn't it?
Be pod gold, wouldn't it?
Yates' dad knocking G out. I'm there for that.
Oh, so you've decided that result already?
Oh,
G's not getting a...
Tough northern lad against G at the end of 3 weeks of the tour. Imagine that'd be a right laugh, wouldn't it? Me, you and G doing a pod. Bam, he comes over, knocks G out on the Champs-Élysées. That'd be mega. Come on, John.
What a way for G to finish his 14th and final tour. Getting sparked out by the father of
I wouldn't
a younger
even step
rival.
in, I'd just laugh.
Well, it's good to solve that mystery. John, thank you for filming that video. As I say, we'll stick it on our socials if you want to see the action. Right, Luke, we have an exciting weekend ahead because we are going to rendezvous in Paris. We're going to record a pod on Sunday, and then once Geraint has finished wiping away the tears and wiping away the sweat and possibly drunk his first beer, he's going to join us as well to talk about the end of his final tour. You're coming over slightly later on Saturday, aren't you? So I'll probably see you Sunday morning. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Yeah, action-packed. We've got 2 exciting days of racing. Just to remind those who aren't aware, obviously the Champs-Élysées normal parkour has been completely changed. Throwing in a cobble
A little
climb.
bit of an Olympics.
Yeah.
It's the Olympics influence, isn't it? We've got some of the Montmartre circuit that we saw at the road race for the Paris Olympics last summer.
Yeah, so it's a sprinter's nightmare. For me, the traditionalist, sad to see it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. It's very iconic that,
Is it going to mess it up for the sprinters, you think?
Sprinters won't win. No.
He's short and sharp and nasty,
Pogi,
in it, that climb.
Van Aert, Stuyven, Quinn Simmons, these explosive guys. I think it's too hard for the sprinters, mate. And I'm a bit of a historian, traditionalist of the sport. Champs-Élysées is the sprinters' world championships. It gives them something to go for at the end of the tour. Why you often see them suffering through the last week. Why do they suffer? Because they know they get to the Champs-Élysées, they can win a stage of the Tour de France, and it's a huge incentive to keep them going, light at the end of the tunnel for them, and I think that's been taken away from them. But it is going to be exciting, there's a lot of cobbles. It is a cobble climb. There's a lot of cobbles now in there. It's like a little mini classic to finish it off, which also anything can happen on cobbles, even the GC, even if it's punctures so it is exciting. It is going to be great to watch. But and then we got the pod. Yeah. It's getting very professional and organised, this pod. I love it.
Isn't it?
It's going to be great. So live on the Champs-Élysées, as soon as G crosses the finish line, we're going to be podding.
Superb. And then, because you are a man who has finished in Paris on a number of occasions, you're going to show us the post-tour sites, aren't you, the whole team? You're going to take us to the best parties, maybe the best buses first of all, then the best parties, and use your name and your reputation from the last 15 years to get us into the best do at the end of the night.
My name and my reputation will stop us getting in the best do of the night. You? No.
Not again.
No.
Not after 2018. Get out.
I'm sure we'll have a couple of shandies along the way. I don't know exactly what we're doing. We've got the TNT Eurosport crew, got the What's Occurring crew, got the Decathlon AG2R crew, got the INEOS crew. So there's options. We'll suss it out, mate. We'll have a good time.
And the Eurostar we're getting back, Luke, I don't think is until midday Monday. So there's plenty of time for us to relax, enjoy each other's company after a fun 3 weeks of watching the racing and podcasting.
With a dog on the train, we'll be all right. Brand new.